Wow, Willie here. I shaved my face. I shaved my head. You know what that means, don't you? Talking about Buddhism. All right, let's go. I want to be eating a salad and sanding some wood, and I need to be doing my dishes, but you know what? I'm making a video about Buddhism. All right, so first thing we got to get out of the way. Buddhism is not a religion. How do we know it's not a religion? Because there's no gods. No gods, it's not a religion. All right. Glad we cleared that up. Now, so what is it? Well, the Buddha, he didn't mean to, but he actually discovered a whole buttload of stuff about neuroscience. Actually, you could call the guy a neuroscientist more than anything else. I'm going to try my hand here at being a neuroscientist. All right, so I talked a lot about chakras in my movies in the past, right? So I borrowed some from Ken Keyes. Ken Keyes was a spiritual teacher in the 70s and 80s, maybe 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. He was a really cool guy. He came up with this model of the chakras as security, sensation, power, love, cornucopia with faith, conscious awareness, cosmic consciousness, spirit consciousness. So those are actually really more. They're kind of chakras, but they're really more like they're marking out the brain areas, right? So you got in the center, you got your amygdala, and your amygdala is like fight or flight, right? That's like there is imminent threats present, and I'm gonna have to eradicate them. Okay, then you got your frontal lobe, so that would be security, maybe sensation. I don't know. Then you got power, maybe sensation, power in the center, your frontal lobe. That's like I could lose it at any moment, but I appear to be fine. But I could lose it, okay? And then you got love, faith, conscious awareness, cosmic consciousness. That's probably your neocortex, right? Because in your brain, like it's like you got this mass of spongy material in between your skull, and everything you do creates like a structure, right? It creates like it looks like a tree root system, right? Like of neurons, I think, or whatever. But it's a physical structure in there based on what you do. So it kind of like, and you build these behavioral pathways, these neural pathways, based on what you do, right? And if you do one thing one time, you're going to have a slight inclination to do it again. And if you do it again, you're going to have an inclination to do it a third time. And then if you do it a third time, you're probably going to just do it a fourth time, and you're going to keep doing it. And this is how it works, right? So, like, for example, and depending on what happens, it will form different circuits going to different places. Okay, so, like, let's look at an example. For example, you go out in the world, you got a job, you go work, and you work a hard job, labor job outside somewhere, and you're busting your ass. Right? You're exposed, the threats of harm, danger could happen, and, you're hunting, man. You're out there hunting, right? You're earning your money, you're earning your food, right? You come home, you're tired, you want to relax, you're in your shelter, you're safe, you're secure, right? You want to drink a beer, okay? So you go and you drink a beer, and you go to bed, right? And then the next day you go to work and you work hard and you're out there. Your imminent danger could be present, right? You're on your guard. You come home. Guess what? You're going to want to drink a beer. And you're probably going to drink a beer. And then you work 5 days a week and you're going to start drinking after work 5 days a week. That's how it happens. Not because, alcohol, forms alcohol dependency. So you're going to have to, drink more each time, and then you're going to become addicted to alcohol. And then if you ever try to quit, you're going to have to go through withdrawals and delirium tremors, and you might not be able to quit because of alcohol dependency, because that substance is addictive. But really, it's because that's how the mind works. This is the subconscious mind. This is how the subconscious programming works, right? It's like these behavioral pathways. So, say you come home, say you got to drive an hour, right? You drive an hour to work, drive an hour to work, You're not paying attention. Who's paying attention? You go every morning the same route, 45 minutes to an hour is the same way. You leave the same time. Who's paying attention? You're daydreaming. You're zoned out. You're on autopilot, man. Subconscious mind is paying attention, and it's constantly registering what's going on. You're not being aware of what's going on. The subconscious mind is always watching. So when those lights in front of you light up from the guy braking, he sends an alert to the nervous system to respond, hit on the brakes, and then conscious mind, you say, oh, what's happening? That's how it works. So you come home, you're drinking your beer, and your wife, she comes out, she starts yelling at you, she starts disrespecting you. All you ever do is drink beer. All you ever do is drink beer, right? She's got some subconscious programming operating, and she's yelling at you, right? So it's kind of like, maybe she's yelling at you, maybe it has nothing to do with the beer. Maybe you forgot to take the garbage out. Or maybe, she was in her safe place all day. Maybe she's got some of her own, hang-ups and baggage or whatever, because if you're drinking beer all day long, you probably got some baggage and some hang-ups, right? But it doesn't matter. So maybe she's got some hang-ups and some baggage, and, she's screaming at you. Maybe, she's got some intimacy issues, so she was in her safe place, her secure place, and then you come home and you're a threat. You're a threat invading her safe space. So the subconscious programming says, eradicate this threat. Say harsh words to him so he'll leave, right? So it's like, this is all crazy stuff, right? This is the subconscious mind. See, the Buddha discovered this. He discovered the subconscious mind, right? And he wasn't really trying to figure this out. He was trying to figure out how not to be miserable. But it turns out the process by which the subconscious mind programs habits and programs everything, the way it operates, is kind of creates misery. It's really fixed. And it operates off of, this is what he discovered, it operates off these four things. Right? In Buddhism, they love numbers and lists and all that stuff. So this is consciousness, recognition, sensation, reaction. That's kind of how it works, right? And then the reaction says, do it again. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. And that's how we form all these neurological pathways. So say your wife, she's disrespecting you, she's screaming at you. All you do is drink beer. All you do is drink beer. You're drinking beer. So you're not in your neocortex anymore. You're in your frontal lobe. And she starts yelling at you. Maybe she was in her frontal lobe, and then you came home, and then she went straight to the amygdala, and she's yelling at you, right? She's in fight or flight, right? So, and then you start yelling at her, and then you go into your amygdala, right? Because you're drinking. Maybe you say some really mean stuff, and then you guys you create an interpersonal behavioral pathway between the two of you, where every time you see each other, you take each other straight to your amygdalas. Some people just do that, and they just will do that to you no matter what, and you'll do it to them. See, that's misery. That's misery. See, the Buddha, he discovered this because he saw this process. He found a way out. He found the way out of this process, and that's the Eightfold Noble Path. And the Eightfold Noble Path basically means you have a base of morality to take you to concentration. You can't concentrate if you're not moral, because the mind's you're not in your neocortex. Basically, you're out of your mind, right? So, and then with the concentration, you can gain the insight. And what you do is you just watch this process. See, what the Buddha did was he started to communicate with his subconscious mind. He started to bring up all the subconscious programming that he accumulated all throughout his life, and he started just watching it. He started watching it. He formed a new pathway in his brain. He became a new person who just watches the stuff that comes up, that just watches it come up, right? And that's what he did. He was communicating with the subconscious mind. So it takes us to an interesting point, right? It's like the subconscious mind, man, is so powerful. It is so powerful. It operates everything. And it operates everything kind of in the shadows, I didn't read it. Carl Jung and the shadow self. I think he's talking about the subconscious mind. People say maybe it's your inner child work, or whatever, your dark side of yourself or whatever. It's your subconscious mind. He kind of operates in darkness, and he's so powerful. He projects like everything that people create is really unconsciously. It's just an expression and a projection of the relationship that they have with their own subconscious mind. Like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are in this weird dance. It's the strangest thing. Like check this out. Like check out religion, right? So back up in heaven, right before we came here, God and they were having a meeting or whatever, and Satan was up there. He's an angel, and he was like, "God, your plan stinks. We got to do my plan." And God was like, "No, GTFO," and he got kicked out, and he became, he became the prince of darkness. I don't know, like, and he inherited the earth. It's like the conscious mind is God, and the subconscious mind is Satan. Like, it's crazy. Like, he's running the show. He inherited the earth. He's running the show behind the curtains in the darkness. We don't see him, right? Because the conscious mind is saying all the stuff. Who I am, what I got to do. I made a salad. I want to eat it. I need to do my dishes. Oh, I really want to sand this wood. I'm working on this project. Oh, I got to do this genogram. I got to do all this crazy stuff. That's the conscious mind. Subconscious mind doesn't speak in words. Like, he's the one just running the programs. You're going down this pathway, Will. Nope, this is happening. You're going down this pathway, Will. When I get home from work and I want a beer, he's the one that says, "Get up. I'm taking you to the fridge and getting a beer." Like when you come home and you're drinking your beer and your wife's screaming at you, he's the one that says, "F you," and screams back. He doesn't tell you to do it. He just makes you do it. When you're triggered, when the pathway's going, he's the one that's moving it, right? He doesn't talk like normal people. So, that's one way to look at it. Once you become aware of this, though, with some people at a certain level, they gain awareness of their own programming. Maybe not to this level, but they do gain an awareness of their programming that, man, my programming's screwed up. So that's when God is the conscious mind. God is conscious mind. The church or the Bible becomes the subconscious mind, and then you become the body of the church, right? Or the person reading the Bible, right? It's crazy stuff, man. It's all over. You can look at it in anything. Say you endured a lot of trauma in your life growing up, right? Subconscious mind's going to push everyone away from you, because when people experience big trauma, big invalidations, it puts them in their fight or flight mode. Puts them in their amygdala. And when you're in your amygdala, man, you need to be left alone, and your body needs to reboot. So the subconscious mind says, "Get away from me." And it will push everybody out. It's crazy stuff, man. So what do we got to do? Well, if you're not going to go to Vipassana, a 10-day meditation course, as taught by S.N. Goenka, which I highly suggest you do, to learn a method of communicating with your subconscious mind, try to communicate with it. I saw this video with Dolores Cannon, and she's like this 80-year-old genius lady. It's cool. And she was saying, you can communicate with your subconscious mind. And I was like, what? And so I went on her website. I was like, this lady's got a website, man. She said, yeah, we started doing these classes. I said, I'm going to pay $997, and I'm going to get this woman's training, and I'm going to learn how to do it. And I said, wait a minute. This is my subconscious mind. And I said, yeah, you want. And I said, no, I can learn how to do this. I know how to do this. It's my subconscious mind. I should be able to talk to it. So I started visualizing who my subconscious mind was. Because in order to talk to somebody, you have to know what they look like, what they sound like, who you're talking to, So I started to visualize who my subconscious mind was. And I said, oh yeah, I can talk to him. And I started talking to him. And the more I communicated with him, the more it seemed easy to put the messages I wanted, the new messages I wanted in him to be there. So it was kind of cool. It's like when the church is operating, right? The subconscious mind as the church is operating, right? But they're like, we need an answer, God. We're praying. Where's our answer? And God's, he's eating a salad. He's out to lunch, man. The church can get pretty crazy, right? You start seeing crazy stuff, people rolling around on the floor, doing all types of stuff. Whatever. And then finally God shows up and he says, "What? You guys are crazy. Quit doing that. Do this instead." And then everybody makes sense. And the church is like, yeah, this makes sense. And then they teach the people. And then the people do it for a time. And then eventually they get kind of lost or confused. And then they start praying and God's out to lunch again. And then all of a sudden the people in the church are all crazy. It's kind of how it goes, right? So be in constant communication with your subconscious mind. Try to be talking to him all the time. I saw this one video, the lady was saying, direct it, instruct it, command and compel it to do what you want it to do. Right? That's one way. I just try to visualize him and see him operating in me. See him operating in me and tell him I want him to do something else. And then do it. All right. If you want to live your best life, if you want to live your really best life, you got to live a life where your superego and your ego can be integrated together. Okay? But if you miss that boat, or you're living a life that maybe is not, maybe second best life, then you get the opportunity to integrate your conscious and your subconscious mind. And that's a really good thing to do. All right, well, until next time, Wild Willie's World out.